Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be doing the reviewing the 1956 musical The King and I, starring Hugh Grant, Deborah Kerr, and a very young Rita Moreno in a small role. This movie is based on the famous Broadway musical of the same name, and with Hugh Grant reprising his role as the King of Siam, and which he won a Tony for, and he also won the Oscar for the movie version. And is one of the few actors who have won an Oscar and a Tony for playing the same part. And he won actually the Tony first, and then of course the Oscar for the movie version. Of course, the other actors, of course, that won was of course Joe Gray for Cabaret, Liza Minnelli also for Cabaret, Barbra Streisand for Funny Girl, and of course also Rex Harrison for My Fair Lady, and I forgot to I think there's about one or two other ones who've done the same thing, won an Oscar and a Tony for the same role. But it hasn't happened very often because they always replace, 9 times out of 10 they usually replace the actor for the movie version because maybe they're more photogenic or whatever, like they did with West Side Story. With Carol Lawrence, who originally played Maria in West Side Story, which was replaced by Natalie Wood because Natalie Wood is more photogenic because she's drop dead gorgeous compared to Carol Lawrence. So, but Hugh Grant at the time was so recognized as the King in The King and I that they couldn't think of anybody else to play the part because he was so good in that role. And it was good in other roles too, but that's the role that made his career because it's really the first role he really had at the time, and it was the role that made his whole career. And so, well, I know I went into a long introduction, but the plot of the story is Deborah Kerr plays a widowed school teacher from England who has a small or young son who travels from England to Siam for a teaching job. And the teaching job was to teach all the king's children. And of course, the king, like I mentioned, was played by Hugh Grant. So, if they have a real confining relationship because she was originally supposed to have a house, she didn't have a house right away, and the king reneged on his promise. Oh, I don't remember what I promised or anything. And then eventually she does. But towards the end of the movie, she does get the house, but they're always fighting. He always had the nitpicking on, or at least the king, and it was always nitpicking what she was teaching the kids all the time. And there's always a big relationship between her and the 500 kids, or at least it feels like it, that the king of Siam has, because he has more than one wife. He has maybe like 30 or 40 wives. Each one cranks out like maybe 10 kids, so 10 to 12 kids. So he has a boatload of children, and that's from maybe like 20 years old to maybe as young as maybe 4 years old in terms of ages of all the kids, and expecting like 5 more kids. So, with all his various wives. So I kind of make a joke of how many kids he has with his various wives. So, so Deborah Kerr is trying to compete with that, and she's the one who mostly does most of the singing. But I found out that Deborah Kerr was actually dubbed in this movie, and that's what happens a lot of times in the 50s, in the early 60s when you have musicals. You have someone who's photogenic like Deborah Kerr, or like I mentioned earlier, Natalie Wood for West Side Story. The photogenic, that means they look good on screen, but they couldn't sing a lick. So Deborah Kerr was dubbed. So like with Natalie Wood, same thing with Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady. She was also dubbed. And the irony is, I don't think any one of them has won the Oscar because they didn't do their own singing. And so, but the one who did all the singing, she had a great, singing voice. And of course, this movie was about like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. So it's kind of short compared to other movie musicals. But this movie is good as it is, and I can't recommend this movie enough. And what I also found out was there were 3 songs cut out from the Broadway version and this one, and which, it always kind of bothers me when they always cut songs out or they change songs around, but most musicals have done that one time or another. They rearrange the songs or they put a new song or 2 in, so that song will get nominated for an Oscar for Best Song. I mean, it's done that all the time in movie musicals. When they put one new song in there, or slip one new song in, like they did with Evita. That's what they did with Evita. Slip one new song in there, and that song won the Oscar for Best Song. But for King and I, they just took 3 songs out. But the majority of the iconic songs in The King and I was in there. Like Getting to Know You, or Well So I Work. It's kind of like a very different version, like Snow White, Whistle While I Work. When I whistle, when I'm afraid, I whistle a happy tune, and do that. Yeah, that's one of the songs in the musical. And also, song Something Wonderful is in there. So he did have some iconic songs from the film. But one thing that really took the movie down, drags the movie down, and annoying that, but padded the story out a little bit, was when the King's Children performed a Siamese version of Uncle Tom's Cabin. Even though they retitled it so they could fit the language of the Siamese, for the King's Children, but they did that. I mean, that sequence took a really long time. It took maybe 10 to 15 minutes, which for a musical, it's a really extremely long time to have a sequence like that. And it kind of like slows, to me, it slowed the movie down. But it's a musical. Oh yeah, one other song I remember was "Shall We Dance," which was the most iconic moment in the show, with Deborah Kerr and Yul Brynner were dancing together in the movie. That was the most iconic thing. Of course, the reason why Deborah Kerr is playing the part, I should mention this, that the actress who originally played Anna in the Broadway show died before they started casting for the film version. So they had to hire somebody else, and somebody recommended Deborah Kerr, and she was available, and so she was available to do the film, and she got the part for it. But actually, Yul Brynner reprised his role and he won the Oscar for it, and which is, I mean, I think that there's maybe 2 or 3 roles, maybe 4 roles that Yul Brynner is known for in his career. King and I, The 10 Commandments, which ironically came out the same year as The King and I, in 1956. You also had his role in the movie Cast a Giant Shadow, which I think he did a supporting role in that, but I thought it was good in that. And also he did the movie Westworld, but playing like a robot cowboy or something. I never saw that one. But the other 3 movies they have, and he's great in every one of them. But of course the movie, and it does end, major spoiler, with the King of Siam dying, and his son, the one he picked to be the next King of Siam, gets picked, and he starts taking over. And of course, the running gag is when they use the word etc., etc., etc. through the whole movie. But as a film, if you like musicals, or if you like Yul Brynner and Deborah Kerr, of course, watch The King and I, which is one of the best movies. You can see, of course, this movie was also remade with Anna and the King with Jodie Foster, and of course, it was also revived on Broadway a couple of times. I think most recently, Donna Murphy played Anna in The King and I. And of course, if you want to know what Donna Murphy looks like, watch Spider-Man 2 and Star Trek Insurrection, because he was in those movies. So I'm not doing a short review of it, but it's one of the most. I still like The King and I, but I'm not like a huge fan of it, because I mean, I like it for Yul Brynner and Deborah Kerr, but other than that, it's a It's a good movie. It's a good musical. It's a classic musical movie. But it doesn't have, unfortunately, it doesn't have the class. It doesn't have the cult following as maybe like Sound of Music has, because it's always on TV all the time. And so that's my review of The King and I. Please click on the video. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You check out all my reviews not only my YouTube channel, but rowdyc.com. That's all WDY. Then C.com. That's the homepage for my review of Chris Lee Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.